I want to explain to you the interesting and intricate scenario of when you watch something like on Tuesday and Saturday when they do the reruns. It seems like it's the same thing. And you sit there with another person who watched it with you, or you sit there with yourself, and the room replays it back with the memory bouncing off those little particles of mineral and water and reflection. So off your eyeballs that you project out from your information center through the invisible airwaves of light and clear air with dust floating around in it, spinning particles and beaming little laser microscopic string theory kind of beams across to each other while they vibrate. Yes, that's what dust does when it moves around. It spreads information through the spaces of zeros when those things mix and combine and they swirl and twirl, and you just don't see them all the time. Sometimes you do see the dust particles and sometimes you don't, but we know it's always there. So as you look at it with the same person and it's something that has like puzzles or guests doing quiz answers, you'll actually notice sometimes if you watch that same one Tuesday and Saturday and it looks like the same people, it is the same people, the same faces, but their clothes will change. Or they'll have the same clothes for a while and you won't even notice it'll come back and be a different color. But then if you go to prove it to somebody, your own body will play a joke on you and play it the way you saw it the first time. So that way nobody will be able to understand because they weren't there to watch it with you. And if somebody else sits there and watches it with you and they're not conscious, you'll notice that the puzzles change. I've been able to make puzzles on Wheel of Fortune change to what I want them to. And then when we watch the rerun again, they're not that at all. It's just that I said, I want these puzzles to all be really pleasant. And every single one was like something really encouraging or loving, and it would match my name, the kids' names, and like this kind of just silly stuff and it would just be every single one of them too accurately to be like, well, see, I mean, like this is what I said before the show started, and while it's playing, I say what it's going to do before it does it. And I know it's weird. I don't mean to, but it's all I do if I let myself go into that space and stay in it. I mean, if I come back and don't act like I'm in that spiritual spot, then I'm acting. Like how I was saying, some people do this thing where they're just too spiritual or they're not spiritual enough and they're too physical, and some people are sort of in the center where they just don't care. They don't even know, they've never taught right, and it's not nobody's fault. It's because nobody just reflects back and forth. And how that works is it's beaming off my eyes, my memory, their eyes, their memory, laser little lights that go over to that screen on the TV that has electric that also holds memory. It projects some of it and it broadcasts some of it, but the same people looking at those things do the same things with their little laser lights and their little laser eyes. So that whole intricate circuit of moving digital string theory, dust particle, and airspace is just like when they collide and they make numbers and letters and those little microscopic little things. And when you make those vibrations of, hey, how you doing? When you measure it from the side, it's like a spinning vibration of how the letters sound and look when they come out of your mouth. And they go out in front of you and they shape everything you look at. And if it's like something like wood, it stays that way. And if you stood there and yelled at a door that's made out of wood or something soggy and breathed your hot air on it like this for long enough, like a year, it would actually start molding in that spot. And it may sound stupid, but it would. And I've done it. Just not in this lifetime, and I'm not going to waste my time to prove it. But, I mean, people have done the silliest stuff when they were just animal-minded, and you know that. And you just don't realize that you were that too. It's just now you're different moving particles of food and plant and water. And you don't realize it. And light, that's reflecting it all. And when it goes down, we're reflecting off each other and our eyes projecting through that same style without the TV, just in the dark. And those little pieces out there are big enough pieces that shine back and look the way that we interpret the information that we call it. Fire and rings and big sonic booms. And they're great words, but that's all they are. They're particles of dust and clear space crisscrossing into numbers and letters, and they match with that. And the spinning that I always talk about is the way that the words would come out when they go forward out of our mouth, like if we're measuring it from the side when we do music, that octave of 8 is spinning 8 times. It spins 4 times for one and 4 times for the second, and that's the one is the half, like January through June to the end, and then it's the other half July through December on the other side. And that's all it is. And it's still tilting the other way at the same time. And that distinguishes the years and the addresses. And, and those addresses beam off to satellites and they bing back and bing bop and bing boop all over the place. And that's literally how we're connecting to everything. And if you stare out at a star enough, you'll understand that it starts reflecting more in a way that you think. And if you really start looking at it and thinking like it's moving to the right, it will. Eventually, if you practice any of the things I'm talking to you about and realize that this is what's making you up, you're like a satellite signal of nature. And we've come from nature and forgot about it and been more interested in satellites. And I don't blame anybody. They were just misled by the food they eat and the animalistic natures that come from that. They can still love and have sex and all these kind of things that they want to do. Just do it in a more distinguished way, I guess. And I'm not trying to put anybody down for what they do. And like I've said a billion times, and I'll say a billion more times, because I've said it. So when I say I've said it a billion times, I don't want to sound stupid, but if you don't understand by now, so have you. And we've done this for the longest length of time that anyone would understand. And if we can get ourselves together, we can save ourselves now instead of having to be another history stain that we complain about as other people again. And then we merge when we merge, and we separate when we separate. And right now we're really separated. So, till next time, peace.